When it's time for you to take your car to the shop for repairs, do you become fearful? You want to trust the mechanic's judgment, but you don't want to get ripped off either. Been there, done that. So how do you become a car-smart woman? Here to tell us how in today's Empowerment series is Elayne Kling. She's a mechanic blogger and has owned an auto repair garage in New York City for 20 years. Good morning.
Hi.
You really have owned that garage for 20 years in New York City?
I have, and I've seen a lot on those streets.
Well, I'm sure you've seen from A to Z and then some. But we're gonna.
Yeah.
That's for the late night show.
Okay.
Okay, but let's talk about these horror stories that women go through, because it's happened to me, and I can't stand it. So, what's the first thing women should do so they're not taken advantage of?
Well, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have a good mechanic.
Okay.
Do you have a good mechanic?
Do I have a good mechanic? Let's see, in my dreams, I have a 25-year-old mechanic, and he's got long blonde hair, and he's got greasy hands.
That's how I got involved in this business in the first place, but we're not going there, right? Okay.
That's for the late night show. Okay. Let's move on, because I'm going to start blushing here.
All right, go ahead.
So after you find the right mechanic, and let's pretend I did, and it's time for a repair, what do women do before heading into the shop?
Finding the right mechanic is job number one.
Right.
So what you need to do to find the right mechanic, let's back up and go there first. So you need to ask everyone that you know if they have a good mechanic that they trust. You need to go online and look at reviews. And then once you think you found someone, you need to call them up.
Okay.
Because having a conversation on the phone can tell you a lot of things about somebody.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, a lot of times I will get a phone call from somebody just like out of the blue, and they're like, start like grilling me about things. And I actually think it's great. I think you should have it ahead of time. When you get new medical insurance, you go out and find a doctor. When you get a car, you should go find your mechanic.
Do your homework.
That's right.
You really have to do your homework.
Get prepared.
And let me ask you something, because I'm obviously very forceful sometimes with my voice, and I think the tone of the conversation should always be that you are in control. We must be in control. It's very important.
Yeah.
I am a woman, and hear me
Absolutely.
roar.
Yeah.
All right, so how do you know that you're not being taken advantage of, and what do you suggest? How should that tone be with that gentleman or that mechanic?
You know, basically what you want to make sure that you're doing, you want to be firm, but you also want to be nice. Okay. You don't want to put a big target on your back and be one of those people, one of those women who goes in and like, you know, I don't know anything about my car. You never admit that you don't know anything about your car.
Absolutely not.
Rule number one.
Yes.
You go in, you don't have to know anything, but you don't have to announce it, because that's going to put a big target on your back.
Just pretend.
You just
fake it.
You don't have to really fake it, because they're going to see that you're faking it. You just don't announce it.
Got it.
Just don't announce it. I had a mechanic that used to work for me, and he came back to see me recently, and he said to me, Elayne, please tell women to stop coming in and telling me that they know that I'm robbing them.
Because he can call it.
Because the second they come in and say, you're robbing me, now I want to rob you. So don't go in.
Got it.
Don't announce anything. Don't act like, you know, brutish. None of that's going to work.
Correct.
You're dealing with men, so let's take that into account right away. And you have to be firm, but be nice.
Now, let me ask you this. How do you know, or how do you make sure that the mechanic does not do work on your car that you haven't said, you know, thumbs up, I'm approving this?
Well, so again, I mean, this is pretty much common sense, but you know, sometimes I just have to remind people.
Slap them in the face.
Yeah, you need to tell them right away when you drop the car off, look, you don't have authorization unless you've gotten that authorization from me. I want to know everything that's happening. I don't care if you call me 10 times. I want to know every single thing that's going to show up on that bill.
Got it.
One of the biggest problems, actually, is that people will go and pick up their car, and all of a sudden they've got this receipt that's like 2 pages long with a lot of incidentals that they never even asked for. And yes, they may repair the initial problem that you had, but they've like added on a bunch of things. So you need to make it clear ahead of time. You want to know every single thing that you're being charged for.
Okay, but let's say you get that receipt and something seems off. Now, do you get upset?
Well, I mean, you don't really want to get upset. Again, when you go get your car, you want to go in there and you want to say, okay, what did you do? Where, can you show me on my car what you did?
Right.
And can I see the old parts?
Exactly.
And maybe you want to try to look and see if those old parts match the parts that, you know, the new parts, because that's a big shyster thing that they do where they
don't
pull, they'll show you different brakes, you know, that weren't really yours, you know, whatever. You need to, this is why you need to always do your homework. Whenever you get the phone call, go online, see what the parts are supposed to look like maybe. That's a little difficult to do, but it's always best to just have as much information as you possibly can. And then go in there and go page by page through the bill, line by line through the bill. What is this power steering fluid flush that I don't need, right? Did you tell me you were doing that? And did I look that up to see that I don't really need a power steering fluid flush?
Got it. All right, so a lot of advice here today. Wrap it up in like a little ABC. Give us the last minute tips.
All right, so the first thing is find a good mechanic. The second thing is never admit that you don't know anything about your car. Be firm and be nice. Use your instincts. Stay on top of the situation. You can't go wrong.
Love that. Great advice. One last question before you leave.
Yes.
Can you date your mechanic?
You can, but like I said, mine's my ex-husband.
So is mine.
Good luck with that, but take it at your own risk.
I love you. Thank you so much. You're a lot of fun. And if you'd like more information so you can take control of your auto repair needs, check out zpauto.com and check out Elayne's weekly blog. She's a lot of fun at thebalancingAct.com. Rev up those engines.